As you may know, my name is Joakim, and during the following minutes my goal is to hopefully teach you a new thing or two on the catch and release mortality on my personal favorite fish, the pike. A large proportion of those who fish for pike for recreational purposes voluntarily practice catch and release. But how many anglers really know how catch and release actually affects the pike after they see it swimming away? I recently read a huge study on the catch and release mortality on pike, and I did my best to pick out a couple of interesting things I would like to share with you, focusing on the facts surrounding critical hook sets that cause bleeding. The study was performed in the southeastern archipelago of Sweden from March to June 2009. During the study, 870 pikes were caught with spin fishing, using bobblers, spinners, jerkbaits, tailbaits and spin flies. Every single pike were weighed and measured before they released it as quickly as possible. Pikes who suffered from bleeding due to critical hooking were subsequently tagged. 161 bleeding pikes were successfully tagged while also being observed at least twice after being released. This way they were able to monitor their initial moving patterns and survival rates on the fishes upon their re-entry to their natural environment. The tagging procedure were both effective and painless. It was performed by simply putting a single hook size 2 in the edge of the dorsal fin, tying it with a pre-fattened 0.33 nylon to a rectangular float. This was done to avoid getting snags. The length of the line was determined by the depth of the capture. If a pike had snagged, it could easily pull itself free with virtually no damage, maybe not even aware of the tag on its back in the first place. Fortunately, only 5 pikes died, 3 of them right away and the other 2 within 3 hours and 50 minutes. All of these 5 pikes were suffering from severe bleeding as a result of hook set in either one of the 3 critical parts of the fish, which is the gills, the ventricle aorta and the esophagus. It's also worth mentioning that they found no relation whatsoever between bleeding and the length and size of the pike. Moving on, bleeding pikes migrate less than non-bleeding ones due to physical stress on the fish doing its best to regulate and maintain its oxygen blood levels. In some instances, it could take up to 30 minutes to even fully find its balance again. Furthermore, the type of bait that the pike was caught on had a huge impact on the amount of critical hook sets. 2 types of baits that stood out were the spin fly and the tail bait, which both significantly decreased the risk of critically severe hook setting. This is probably due to the suspending action that these baits have naturally, but also the illusion they create of a bigger bait, often causing the pike totally engulfing them. There were no difference in correlation between bleeding and the size of the pike when caught on spin fly, while the tail baits seemed to cause bleeding more often if the pike was big. This is simply a matter of gape size limits. The spin fly totally collapses in the pike's mouth, regardless of the size of the gape, while the tailbait has a solid body part that just doesn't fit in a small pike's mouth. If you still have your attention, my hope is that by now you maybe learned something new about pike and its catch and release mortality. To sum up, a bleeding pike is definitely not a guaranteed dead one. On the contrary, a huge minority of bleeding pikes, even severe cases, survives for at least 48 hours according to the study. So keep in mind that this is not a credible way to draw conclusions about the long-term effects on the catch and release. It should however be able to give you a good indication of what might happen with the pikes as time passes. Thanks for watching, and I hope I will see you again in the near future, and remember, always practice catch and release with passion.